I have Vlad Guerrero, number 6, Manny Machado, number 7, Eugenio Suarez, and number 8, Alex Bregman. And maybe you could put Rafael Devers in that grouping. And we lost him. Well, I'll go through it. I don't know what I don't like about Rafael Devers. Everything about him says that he's a very good player, but I think he gets drafted higher than he ought to be in most leagues because he never really is around when I'm ready to draft him. And, but he did have an awful year last year, and he did have a great year the year before. And the question is which one's which, and we have to decide which players we believe in and which ones we don't. And I don't know. I might have some kind of unconscious bias versus him. Manny Machado, I don't. A lot of people have Manny Machado really, really high. Kevin's pointing out that Vlad doesn't qualify at first base, but the intention right now is for Vlad to start at the third base, right? And so he'll get it relatively quickly, and it's hard to not put him in that category because of that reason, right? Their big thing is who's going to play first base because he's not playing there. Is he going to play DH this year? Am I really wrong about this? I didn't really check it out, but he was on my list of third basemen. I copied off a general list of all the third basemen, and he was on the thing. So let's see what Fangraph says. Because we got it. Maybe I can let him in now. Add. He disappeared. Let's start here. Roster resource. You back, buddy?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I just read off my next 4, and somebody said that Kevin said that he doesn't think that Guerrero qualifies at third base. I think he might be right about. But what I was saying that the plan was for him to start at third base this year.
Damn it.
What's wrong?
Yeah, normally the internet's okay. I'm not sure if you're even hearing me at all. But
Yeah, I hear you.
It's snow.
Vlad Guerrero did not play enough ball
And it's shitty.
But he is kind of, he got in good shape to play third base. He's going to play third base. I could not put him in here. If you want, I'll add some guys at the end because there are more than 20 players that I do want to talk about. Manny Machado, I think he had a great year last year, and everyone has high hopes for that lineup. I have him a little bit deeper down than most people do because I don't really think he doesn't base anymore. I don't think he's more than a 260, 265 hitter, and a lot of things have to go right for them. For him to really get, if he gets to 95 RBIs, he's the number 7 guy. But he can get to that, if everyone thinks Hosmer is going to be great, but I'm not in that group. I don't think that you're going to have 4 guys on the San Diego Padres not get 110 runs.
You might.
Yeah,
you might.
Yeah, it's what they call a non-zero possibility, but it's slim. It's like people. I have little doubt that he's the second best hitter on the Padres, but I don't think that. I don't think they have a cluster at second base. They have a very dull Eric Hosmer at first base.
Didn't they just sign Profar too?
Yeah, there's a lot of questions there. Yeah, I was big on Austin Nola before last year, and I don't think he's the answer as a catcher. But it's a team that can hit. For what it's worth. Did I just lose power? You still hear me?
You're still talking. Yeah, you're good.
Anyway,
I can hear you. I can hear you just fine.
Yeah, I'm just worried about losing power because everything just dimmed.
Well, where were you at in the list? Because I barely just got sound back to hearing you. I couldn't hear shit.
I was at number 8.
Yeah, I heard nothing.
Wow.
I heard nothing after pretty much number 1. I heard all about Jose Ramirez, and I agree with you with where he's at. I'm a little worried about his positioning in terms, like you said, with teammates. But I'm just curious, what happened to him? Like, was it the end of 2018 where he just kind of sucked the second half and couldn't hit anything, and now it doesn't seem like it's a thing anymore.
It was the opposite. He had a really bad end of one year, but even in that year, as bad as he was, he still stole 20 bases. He still hit 29 home runs.
Sure. I just remember Lenny going on and on about it.
And he still was a top 60 player overall, which,
yes.
Like if you're going to really suck and be top 60, that's not a bad outcome for a player that's not very good.
But do you think that we're going to start to see him with no protection? I mean, like, he's got no fucking protection in that lineup. Really?
I think that high 20s, 30 home runs is not an issue, and 20 stolen bases is not an issue. And
I think we might see a big dip in the runs scored and
the runs and the RBIs. That's the one worry. He would be well above the other guys. If it wasn't for that. If it wasn't for that thing, that there would be a dip in the runs and RBIs. So I had 1 Ramirez, 2 Arenado, 3 Rendon, 4 LeMahieu, and that was my cut for the first grouping. The second grouping was 5 Vlad Guerrero, 6 Manny Machado, 7 Eugenio Suarez, and 8 Alex Bregman. Alex Bregman is an interesting one because he had a phenomenal 2019 and not so great last year. I was looking at these stats, and it's really crappy to look at stats over 60 games. But when I was on Statcast, one of the interesting things was that they have a thing where they show like what percentage that you swing in the zone, what percentage you chase on. And in 2019, when he had the great year, he led the majors in hits off of pitches chased out of the strike zone. And I think that's something where one of two things, like there's a modicum of luck to that. Either that or he's a credible bad ball hitter, or it's something that tells the pitchers that he's a guy that can chase. And so I actually believe I think Alex Bregman's a good player, but if you throw in the Houston issues with the fact that he looks like he's a guy who likes to chase pitches. 2019 seems to be what I would consider his ceiling rather than something he could build off of. Like going into 2020 before the Houston thing, we thought maybe he might get better. Like 2019 is about as good as you'll ever get from Bregman. And if you get that, that's very good. It was like 34 home runs, 116 RBIs, but he's not going to be better than that. And then Eugenio Suarez is an interesting one.
I love Alex Bregman personally.
What is there to love about him? That's the thing. It's like, I mean, I see that he's good, but why would you like him more than any of the players I named ahead of him, except for maybe?
Yeah. So I lost you again. I'm about 2 minutes to my house. I'm going to park in the Wi-Fi, and we're going to recap a little bit because as soon as you started reading that list again, I was like, blah, 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 blah.
All right.
I couldn't hear a word.
I'm going to keep going then, and we'll recap the important ones. Things really changed after 9 is Rafael Devers. At this point in the draft, a lot of people are drafting third baseman, which a lot of them I wouldn't touch because they're just not that good. And when you draft him with the 114th pick overall, you're going to have to get him to be like Kyle Seager, like those kind of guys. Matt Chapman's one that I dropped a good deal because he's one of those guys that was a 230 hitter, had that 283 year, went back to being a 196 hitter last year, and he scares me. Unlike Eugenio Suarez, who is building every year. Last year, he had an off year, but he did hit the ball harder than he had ever done. He had more barrels, more things. I think things will work out over a longer period of time.
Yeah, I love Suarez too.
And that's why I have Suarez at 7 versus that. So I have at number 10, I have Chris Bryant. Number 11, Justin Turner. Number 12, Josh Donaldson. And those guys are significantly down in the pack. And every one of those guys, well, Justin Turner needs to sign with a team.
I was going to say, did he re-sign with the Dodgers yet?
No, he's not. I don't know if he's going to. But if he doesn't re-sign, then yeah, you drop him because he's not playing. But
he's gonna sign somewhere, dude. I mean, he's a quality player.
Well, no. The thing is, like, if you look on roster, not on roster research, on the Statcast site, the Baseball Savant, it's like he's been number 1 or number 2 in expected WOBA out of all third basemen for like 2 or 3 years. The problem with him is that he gets injured so he doesn't really play anything close to 160 games.
Man,
But
I could see a team like the Giants signing him.
well, it's got to be a team that's competitive. I don't know if the Giants are. I mean, honestly,
the Giants are going to be competitive, man. They were one game out of the wild card.
Yeah,
and I'm a Giants fan personally, and there's some rumors right now they're discussing signing Eddie Rosario, which I love.
Out of all the stats that we got from 2020, the ones that was the most meaningless was the wins and losses. It's like they had a good month and a half, and were able to eke into the playoffs that was expanded.
They didn't make the playoffs,
or they missed by
one game.
Last team mediated. That's an equation for not all that great as far as when they come out. And I'm not saying this just to be mean to you as a Giants fan. I'm a Cubs fan, and the Cubs are going to have a difficult time this year.
Well, the only reason I said the Giants in general, just because of the Zahidi connection. Farhan was in L.A. and he's taken an analytic approach to building this team, and that would be a smart signing, in my opinion. Longoria is not getting any younger.
Like Longoria is one of those guys that gets drafted in this 160 range. Sometimes I'm like, yeah, why would you draft Longoria when you could draft Justin Turner?
Yeah, that's if Turner signed,
Or why would you draft Kyle Seager if you could draft? And this is one of the weird things. Usually, the rookie guys that have good years get run up the flagpole like anything you could see.
Mm-hmm.
But the two rookies from last year, and maybe we'll call three because they're Alec Boehm and Cabrian Hayes aren't getting that kind of love.
I like Boehm a lot.
What is there not to like about these guys? They both were highly ranked prospects. Boehm was the third pick overall.
Mm-hmm.
They both hit.
Boehm hit 320 last year.
They both hit over 300.
Yeah.
It's like okay, Boehm has. I mean, you could say that Cabran Hayes. I have Cabran Hayes lower on the list because I have him at 18 behind Yohan Makata because of and Matt Chapman. But the difference is Cabran Hayes, you're thinking if he hits 22, 23 home runs, that's pretty good. Whereas Boehm could hit high 20s into the 30s. And that's
about 102. Is that correct?
102?
Yeah, I thought that's what his ADP is off of
I downloaded this
NFBC
a week ago, so I have it at 108. So he's moving up a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, he's my 13th ranked first baseman. I like the kid a lot.
Boom.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's nothing to not like, and that's what I'm saying. So that's where I get, and I'm going to speed this up a little bit. So Makata, Chapman, Cabrian Hayes at 17 through 20 is a little. You have Jeff McNeil, who I still like. He's a professional hitter. And I think that he had that great year 2 years ago with hitting home runs. If he can get anywhere near that, the 17th best third baseman is not a thing. I still like Mike Moustakas. We talked before the show, and you have him about the same spot as a first baseman.
I have him ranked 17th as a first baseman, 125 ADP, roughly in that range.
Kevin said that Boehm is now a 7th rounder on NFBC, but that is 3 rounds is
that sounds
45.
about right. 102.
6 round is 9. Yeah, it puts him in the low 100s. Yeah,
that's about right, Kevin.
But I was seeing him go really, really late, and I'm thinking that that there are so many really good third basemen at the top, and same with shortstops that the guys that get all hot and bothered for the rookies already have a third baseman, so they don't jump on Boehm. And then 19, so 17 McNeil, 18 Moustakas, 19 is another rookie, Ryan Mountcastle, who should be on your list too because he's probably going to play for
I love Mountcastle as well. He's another one of those guys. I like those high upside young guys, just personally.
And then number 20 is a free agent. He needs to be signed. Is I had a real hard time with number 20. That's what I'm going to talk about a few guys after this. But number 20 is Tommy La Stella. He's a consummate hitter. The one time he got a chance to play, right? He made the All-Star game and then got injured. Give him a chance. I would love to see him play a full season. There's a lot of other guys down this list that are you can make some kind of case for. Dylan Moore had a nice season with Seattle. He's a guy that can get you 12, 13. He might be the second highest stolen base guy out of the third baseman unless Moncada bounces back because he's historically been good. You got Ian Happ, Gio Urshela, Edward Escobar of the Diamondbacks is just 2 years out of the 30. Miguel Sano has all the power he's always had.